Hello champions, my name is Hardik and I am your consultant helping your business grow. Well guys, in the last 1 week, there are a few people who've asked me this very same question. And the question is, my people are not willing to change to the new ways of working. I am finding it difficult to change and adopt newer things that I am forced to now adopt. What should I do? Well, this pandemic has got us into a very weird situation. It's pushing us to do things which we probably have not done in the past. Some of you may not be using computers, but now you're pushed to using computers. Some of you may be using computers, but not using those to-do apps or project management, style of working. A lot of you may not be working from home, but now are pushed to work from home. A lot of you may be managing people who are currently working from home, and doing that is a fairly different ball game. I understand that. And changing stuff like this can be very, very daunting. But hey, you know what? I've got your back. In this video, I'm going to share with you why change becomes very, very stressful and what is it that you should do to manage it effectively. Keep watching. Welcome back champions. In this video we are going to be discussing two things. One is why change becomes so stressful and what is it that you should do. So let me take you back to the human evolution. When we were monkeys and then we transitioned into being the so-called humans. In the Stone Age era we used to live in forest, and in the forest living it's very difficult to survive. Just imagine yourself in a forest right now and living there. You will have to protect yourself from the weather, from the wild animals of course, and from this unforgiving terrain of the forest, which you will navigate of course for your day-to-day work. Now, when you are staying in an environment like that, you got to be very, very active. And whatever you do, our brain picks those things up. So when we came and became humans and we started to transition into what we are today, we did not forget being active on the so-called dangers that we may encounter. You know, the wild animals that we used to encounter, the wild terrain that we used to encounter, the weather that we used to see. All of those things we wanted to avoid. Our brain was developed the capabilities to help us identify dangers and potential danger and keep us away from that. The way it keeps us away by putting doubts in our heads, by engaging fear in our personality, so we don't move ahead and encounter that danger. That's the way our brain protects us from uncertain, unhappy, uncomfortable instances. Now we've carried that forward into the current situation, the modern human life. So anything that is going to potentially get you into a failure which you can't justify, or anything that is going to make you uncomfortable, your brain is going to protect you. Protect you how? By telling you how doing that thing is not important, how procrastinating that thing is more important, how to make excuses and come up with such brilliant creative excuses to avoid the change that you are forced to do now. By getting angry at things that you are normally would not feel make sense for you to get angry, but you would get angry because that's the way your brain is protecting you to go and do something that you've never done in the past, because the chances of you failing is far higher. So that is what causes stress. Now, what happens when an employee or an entrepreneur goes through these changes and how do you manage it well? So there are 4 specific things that causes this stress to happen during a change. The change can be you implementing an ERP, and if you are one of them, you must note all of these 4 points down and obviously the solutions with it. So the first thing that causes a lot of stress is too many changes coming in. You're asking the employee to go to ERP, or you are yourself adopting a new ERP, or you're adopting a new exercise routine. Along with that, you're doing several other changes to your life as well. You're dealing with the lockdown, you're dealing with not being able to go outside and party with your friends like you normally used to do, not being that social. You're practicing to be patient and do things in the household chores that you never used to do before. So if too many changes are bombarded on anybody, your mind gets confused, because then it has to develop and protect you from all of those changes. So the mind releases the stress hormone, and that means you're going to either stop, as in pause completely and do nothing, or you're going to try and go away from it. So how do you manage that? Give yourself small changes and go with that first. Finish that change first. So if you're adopting an ERP, or you're going through a new way of working in your enterprise, go small. If it's a software that you're adopting, then maybe go one feature at a time. If it's a different type of meeting, let's say you guys are going on to Zoom, then don't go for a marathon meeting. Go for a 15 minutes meeting. Stretch it up and discuss only a few points. Stretch it up to a half an hour, then discuss a few more points, then stretch it up to an hour, discuss a few more points, and go on like that until you reach the final way of conducting meetings. Now you may ask me, Hardik, if we do it 15 minutes, then we may not cover everything that we want to cover. I understand. But even if you go jump into the 1 hour meeting, you will still not end up covering everything. Besides, you will end up stressing your employees. So you got to trade. It's not the normal situation. You got to go slow. Make changes. I'm not saying pause it. You must make changes. But go one thing at a time. So the second reason why people don't go ahead with change very well is fear of consequences. See, a lot of people who are adopting a new software may probably feel that the data that software is going to generate is going to be used to question their credibility, to question whether they are doing the work or not doing the work. And that fear may keep them away from actually adopting the software completely. The same thing may happen elsewhere. You probably are adopting a new exercise routine, and your fear is that when you go to work out, and what if you're not able to do that exercise, and you learn that you're never going to lose that extra flap that you have on your belly. You are not going to do that exercise. Fear of consequences. So what should you do? You should eliminate, or at least reduce, the fear of consequences. Now, how do you do that? If you are an entrepreneur and your people are in that zone where they are fearing the consequence, you got to set examples. Set examples where you, by your actions, display that nobody is going to get butchered if the data says you've not performed well. This is a very sensitive situation that we all are living in. It's extremely important to protect everybody and make everybody feel that they are safe. If they feel safe, they will work. Do you work well when you don't feel safe? Obviously not, right? You got to set examples by telling your people, hey, you were supposed to do 8 meetings. I see you've been able to manage only 4. Are you okay, or are you stressed? Can I help you with your stress? Do you want to leave? Maybe take a day off and then start again. Are people not responding to you? Are people declining what you're attempting to do? Ask these questions. These are questions that are like almost offering assistance and acknowledging with empathy what the situation is. That's how you remove the fear of consequences. The third thing that can get fear in the minds of people, and therefore they will not adopt the change, is they really don't know how to do that change. So somebody must have told, okay, this is how you go about doing an entry in the software, or this is how you go about doing this particular exercise. The person didn't get the grasp of it. Now what does he do? Instead of saying, hey, I don't know, which is what most people must do, including entrepreneurs, we end up saying, this is not possible, or I will do it another way, or come up with this creative excuses of not accepting the fact that everybody else could do it. I couldn't because I just didn't get it. So this aspect again comes to protecting. Now, how do you do this? You don't have to highlight the fact that somebody does not know it. If you're an entrepreneur managing a team, all that you need to do is consistent training, and rather let me use this word, retraining. Now retraining and communication is what will solve this problem, which means even if you know that everybody's understood, everybody's signed that feedback form of what the new ways of working are, and they've understood everything, whatever, maybe they've done it also for a few days, still over communicate and retrain. Which means you may want to say, okay, if it's an Excel tracker that you started using Google Sheets now, then take up one aspect and have everybody explain that one aspect in their own ways for a week maybe. Retrain. Tell them what is new that you learned in there. What is, and when you ask positive question, what is that new thing that you learned? Everybody is going to attempt to find that new thing. If you were to tell me, Hardik, tell me one new thing in the next meeting that you've learned on this particular aspect, I am going to do the research, because again, I don't want to be failing, right? So I'm going to do the research and figure out what that one thing I can talk about, and that means I'm automatically learning without having any problems doing that. So give retraining, make the materials available. Making videos like this is fairly simple. Use your cam, make videos, record. If you're using Zoom, record that entire thing, give it to people so that they can rewind that, relearn, and overly communicate. Tell them the same thing over and over and over again until it imprints in their heads. We got to magnify our capabilities of management. If we are not able to magnify our capability of management, this situation that we all are in is going to be mighty difficult. Now, if you don't know how to magnify it, don't be in the fear. I encourage you to write down one new thing that you learned during this pandemic in the comment box below. I am going to over communicate with you, and be ready for that. The fourth thing that can have people not go to change is there is no enough reason to change. And this can be with you as well. A lot of people that I'm talking to who are my past clients or who are my clients right now, they don't have enough motivation to change. They are still thinking, hey, you know what, I have enough money in my bank account. I can obviously terminate a few people. And when things go good, people are obviously going to be available because everybody is terminating. So I can obviously relax and not do anything. The same thing is with employees. They may probably feel, hey, you know what, nobody is adopting the software, so it's okay for me to not go and adopt the software as well. Jo sabka hoga, wo mera hoga. That's like saying what happens with everybody happens with me. This is like the Hindi saying, right? That is what people get into. And there is no enough reason for them to change. Now, if there is no reason, nobody is going to change, right? So how to handle that? You got to create a reason for people to change. This is the time when you got to be absolutely open about what the situation of your enterprise is. Talk to your employees and tell them, hey, this is where we are, this is where we need to reach, and for us to reach here, this is what you need to do. Over communicate by training, so you're supporting. Take the fear out of consequences, that nothing will happen to you as long as you attempt, and people who attempt are seeing positive results, so over communicate that again. But tell him, if we don't attempt, then the failure is bigger than the failure that you will encounter if you attempt. And then support. If you are able to do that, then people will want to do it. Obviously, goes without saying, create rewards for attempting and getting out there. So if you take care of these four things that we spoke about, your change management will become very, very, very easy. Of course, when I say very, very, very easy, it's not going to be a cakewalk. You got to magnify your ability to manage your business and your team. I hope you like this video, and if you do, hit a big thumbs up. This is a time when videos like this and information like this is going to be useful to everybody. And remember, all businesses operate in an ecosystem. You can't operate until your vendors operate. You can't operate until your customers operate. You can't operate until somebody else who probably is not directly related to you does not operate and therefore does not have money to buy what you're buying. So this information, spread it as much as you can. Share it with people. If you're not a part of my Facebook community, I'm going to put a link in the description box. Come and be a part of that community. You can ask me questions there, and I will make sure that I make videos like this and answer to those questions. If you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, you may want to consider that, because I am going to over communicate. And what am I going to over communicate? Solutions to the questions that all of you are asking. If you want to talk to me and talk to me regularly, then I have a few offers for you. Just mention it in the comment box, leave your email address and your phone number, and my team will reach you out. Guys, this is a difficult time, but it's not an impossible time. In fact, this is a time when most of them in your competition, if they are not charged up, they are sleeping. And when they are sleeping, if you run, you are going to be a winner by design. So don't stop, keep moving, keep propelling until we meet next time. Keep propelling.